is where we need to be, right? So not only can we have conversations, but someone that I don't know, that we don't have the same political views, helped my son today.
We apologize for that, but let me just talk a little bit about what Skylar Baird did say to me today. He was just a few feet away from Mr. Kirk when the shooting occurred. He saw blood come out of Mr. Kirk's neck, and then Skylar Baird jumped in. He described it as a moat. I think it's actually a little kind of man-made stream that runs through that part of the campus, and he took cover in there. Says he came out soaked. He never did see the shooter's face, but he ran home to Salt Lake City and called me from there. I think we're going to go now to.
Yeah.
Okay, where are we going now?
That's right. We're going to go to Ben Winslow, who was at the press conference from the Department of Public Safety. Thank you so much, Nate.
And Ben, what can you tell us?
Utah Valley University, still a very active scene behind me, a large police presence here, even though, as we did hear in this news conference just a short time ago from the governor, the head of the Department of Public Safety, the special agent in charge of the FBI, and Utah Valley University's police chief, as well as its vice president, we did hear that a person of interest is now in custody. Now, this is different from another person that they also booked on obstruction of justice. That person is considered a little bit of a local gadfly in political circles. But what we know is that the person of interest in custody is in connection with the shooting of Charlie Kirk. The FBI is telling us and the Department of Public Safety, they will be setting up some kind of a hotline. They will be asking for people to submit videos, tips, things that they have so that they can obviously help to build their case if this is indeed their suspect in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We talked about in the news conference, we were asking questions, mostly clarification of, do you have someone in custody? Yes, they do have a person of interest in custody. Again, it has not been established yet if that person is now a suspect or will be formally criminally charged with the murder of Charlie Kirk, but they are certainly going to be questioning that person. We were asking about questions about security measures. Charlie Kirk travels with his own security detail, but Utah Valley University police are also involved in planning for events like this. This was an event that was planned here. Kirk was invited by the local chapter of Turning Point USA, the youth conservative group that he has founded, brought here to Utah Valley University, and obviously engaging in those sort of debates that you have seen shared on social media, as well as the event that was happening here. Police are looking at a number of options, or a number of different ideas of what potentially happened. Was this a shot that was fired from above at a rooftop? Certainly, that is something that we have heard police have expressed interest in looking at, and they are very much exploring that as a possibility. They raised that in the news conference, and then when I did follow up after the news conference asking a little bit more about that, they are keeping all options open as they continue to investigate this shooting and build this case, putting it together. The FBI and the Utah Department of Public Safety are going to be managing this jointly. They are going to be talking jointly, or going to be coordinating jointly, working on this investigation. But obviously what we've also been sharing, and you've been seeing on your screens all afternoon, just hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of social media videos, live streams, posts, things like that, showing exactly what happened. The FBI and Department of Public Safety now going to be collecting a lot of those as they seek to build a case, as they seek to find out exactly how this happened, where, if there were any lapses in security, where those lapses in security were, what exactly happened, where the shot was fired, and, just how it managed to happen with all of the security measures already in place.
Right, Ben Winslow, thank you so much for that update. And we understand that Bob Evans is live and has been joined by some students there just across from the UVU campus. Bob.
Yeah, Max and Robin, we are at Wolverine Crossing, which is the student living complex just west of the UVU campus. I-15 runs between UVU and this complex here. And we are joined today by Kimball Yates and Will Jensen, who are both at this event today, you've had a couple of hours now to kind of reflect on what happened and what you saw. Tell us what you're feeling right now.
Right now, feeling sad, um, and praying for Charlie Kirk's family, but also very thankful for law enforcement, uh, who are working to keep us safe and to catch the perpetrator as well.
Well, you guys were about 30 feet back from the tent. Tell me what you saw.
Charlie was just answering, I believe, the second person up to ask him questions, and we heard a loud crack from above us. And we could see it hit his throat, and we could see the blood come out. Terrifying.
What did you do in that moment?
I think I turned to Kimball and I was like, he's been shot. We got to go. And then we ran towards the doors, and people were running and pushing each other. And yeah.
There were mothers with strollers as well, with little kids, and a couple families on campus for the event. And I was holding the door for this big group of moms, and I remember just thinking, I really hope the police are on this guy, because I was in the courtyard for a while after it happened, holding the door. It was terrifying, to be honest.
Could you see what they did for Charlie in the moments just after he was shot?
I'm not sure.
I saw him. It looked like he fell down, and then people rushed towards him. But by then, we were too worried that there were going to be more shots. So we just tried to get out of there.
Now that you've had some time to reflect on the ideas that had been that people came to share at this event, do you feel like, I mean, there's a chilling effect for this kind of discourse in our country now?
Absolutely. As we were leaving, Will was saying to me, he's like, I don't know if I'll go to political events anymore. It's deeply affecting, seeing something like that, especially as close as we were.
Well, certainly you have spoken with your friends, certainly with your families already. The idea of now having to live with this trauma. I mean, you guys were 30 feet away from him when this happened, when he was killed. That is going to take a toll.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing that we can do is just offer prayers for Charlie's family, offer prayers for all families across America to help kind of bridge this divide we're seeing in our country right now. I think that everyone should go home tonight and hug their families and spend time with their families.
I agree.
I agree. I guess you never know how much longer you've got, but any time is precious.
The idea that this will cause people to think twice already causes Will to think twice about going to a political event or get involved in any way. But if we stay away from these kinds of events, then the other guys win.
That's a great point. I think that Charlie seemed like the type of guy who would want people to um, always keep speaking. He loved the freedom of speech, and he loved the idea of America and the freedoms that we have here and that we get to treasure and enjoy. So that's a great point.
Gentlemen, we really appreciate you talking to us. Thank you so much for coming down from your rooms to talk to us here in the parking lot at Wolverine Crossing. And we're glad we're devastated that a life was taken today, but we are grateful that you two are safe, as well as everybody else in that crowd. So thank you so much for being willing to chat with us today.
Thank you.
Okay. Max and Robin, they have expressed, I think, the sentiments of that are representative of what the students are feeling here at UVU. Heartbroken at what has happened, devastated, traumatized even at what has happened. But again, they sadly, this kind of an event will not only bring out the best in most of us, but also helps us to reflect on the things that really do matter and the loved ones that we hold dear. And as they expressed, they hope that we can go home and hug our loved ones tonight. We're reporting live from Orem at Wolverine Crossing across I-15 from the UVU campus. Guys, back to you.
Bob, thank you so much for your reporting. Indeed, reflection is a truism of tragedy. We do want to let you know the Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray has released a statement about the assassination of Charlie Kirk on the campus of UVU this afternoon. He says his office has been working closely with authorities on the local, state, and federal level in this investigation. He's also been coordinating with Utah Attorney General Derek Brown and officials at the United States Attorney's Office.
He went on to say, quote, "As with other active criminal investigations, my prosecutors will assist by reviewing affidavits for search warrants and providing other legal guidance to law enforcement. Once the investigation is complete, we will carefully pardon me, we will carefully review the evidence and decide on the appropriate charges. The Utah County Attorney's Office is committed to bringing those responsible for this tragedy to justice. We express our deepest concern for Charlie Kirk, his family, friends, and the many others who were impacted by this horrific event." All right, I think we're going to go to Maithili Gooby, who is at Timpanogos Regional Hospital.
That's right.
And Maithili, what can you tell us? There's I don't think that flag was behind you just a little bit ago.
Kind of growing amount of people coming out here to Timpanogos Regional Hospital. Now, what we do know is that Charlie Kirk was brought here in a private vehicle. That's all we know when the shooting happened. So we're trying to stay here to get more developments as we can. We have seen police come. There's crime scene tape up, but we don't have to see the details. What I do want to talk to you about specifically right now is how people have been coming here when they heard the news. They wanted to gather. People have been holding signs, holding flags. And I'm with two of them right now. I'm with Allison and Jared, who wanted to come out here when they heard about what was going on. What's on your guys' mind?
Yeah, our heart really mourns for Charlie Kirk and his family. He was 31 years old. He has 2 kids, a wonderful wife, and it's just so tragic what occurred today. And we really want to be here to support him and his family, and we want them to know that we love them. And
why did you guys want to come out here and kind of be part of this right now?
I've been watching Charlie Kirk for years, and he's just been such a symbol of hope for me, and like also a symbol of like education as well. I've learned so much through him, and you know, hearing the news today, like I was heartbroken. Like I wanted to come here and support him. Like Jared was saying, like he has a wife and he has kids. Like they matter. They're out there heartbroken, and I want to be here to show them like we do care, and like you know, people on their side.
Yeah. That tells you about this incident right here.
yeah, I think it's a tragedy, but we all know, I know it's part of God's plan. And we really just want them to know, like, we do mourn, but we support them 100%. And we want them to know that we love them and that everything's going to be okay. And that even though Charlie Kirk is gone, his legacy still lives with us.
The signs, the flags, the flowers. What message do you hope that gives everyone who's driving by and who sees this?
He was loved, and he was taken from us early through this terrible tragedy, and like we do care, and he's still going to live on 100%. People are still going to listen to his podcast. They're still going to listen to his messages that are out there, and I'm sure this is going to inspire people to speak up a little bit more about their beliefs and how important his work is.
Yeah, I have a fire in my heart. I'm gonna spread God's message. I want to represent. I want to spread Charlie Kirk's legacy, and God bless America.
Yes, God bless America. So young.
Back in with you guys soon. Thank you so much. Yeah. So that's all we have from here for now. We'll send it back to you guys.
Maithili Gooby, thank you so much for that reporting from Timpanogos Regional Hospital, which is where Charlie Kirk was taken in hopes that he would be able to be saved. That was not the case. He died, was pronounced dead there, and we learned that a little bit later in the afternoon after he was shot around 12:20 lunchtime at Utah Valley University.
That's right. Reactions have been pouring in as soon as the news of shots fired were reported, and even more since his death was confirmed.
We have compiled many of those reactions. We'd like to share some of those with you now. Angela Romero, the Utah House Democratic leader, released a statement saying, "Oh, it sounds like, just a second, my producer is telling me, are we going to go to a story about Congress?" Okay, we are going to hear nationally a story from DC about congressional reaction to this event.
We text and talk about policy. He was ironically trying to engage, whatever you think of his views or my views, he was trying to engage in civil discourse on college campuses and invite people opposing views and just go back and forth and have a debate. We ought to be able to debate and have dialogue and go to college campuses without fear of, this kind of attack.
Can you just speak to who Charlie Kirk was, what he meant for the conservative movement?
Well, he was a beacon of patriotism, and he was a leader of young people, and this is really a tragedy. And my thoughts and prayers are with his family, and we lift up him in prayer.
Are you concerned about political violence in this country? I mean, the rhetoric?
Everyone's concerned about political violence and the rhetoric. Yes.
The fact that we asked for a moment of prayer for Charlie Kirk, and then the Democrats decided at that point in time to try to shout that down. First and foremost, Charlie Kirk is now pronounced deceased. He was murdered. That type of rhetoric is the exact type of rhetoric that got him killed. So to be clear, we should have been allowed to pray for Charlie.
I am praying for him. He's a close friend. I'm praying for him right now. It's horrific. It's evil. It's wrong. It's terrific. There's a lot of toxic hate, and too often that hate manifests in violence. I've known Charlie since he was a teenager, and he's, I think, a courageous leader. And I just pray that God's healing hand be upon him.
The lack of tolerance for thought, for speech, for having a debate on a university campus. And our prayers are with him and his family and supporters, and just a sad day. It's a sad day for America anytime we see this. And, it should not be acceptable. And I'm seeing way too much online where it looks like people are saying, you know what, he had it coming. And that ought to be condemned by every single person under this dome.
I'm just going to state the obvious here. This is detestable, what's happened. Political violence has become all too common in American society, and this is not who we are. It violates the core principles of our country, our Judeo-Christian heritage, our civil society, our American way of life, and it must stop. We need every political figure, we need everyone who has a platform to say this loudly and clearly. We can settle disagreements and disputes in a civil manner, and political violence must be called out, and it has to stop.
This is not what our politics should be. And I think, frankly, all of our elected officials have a responsibility to think long and hard about how they engage on these issues, how they talk about these issues. We can duke it out. We can have political disagreement. We can vote our conscience. But the rhetoric that is constantly used to demean each other, and both sides are painfully guilty of this. It's got to stop.
every single member of Congress, every single political activist, every single group in the country that has ever called Republicans and conservatives fascists needs to condemn this violence. I was supposed to go to medical school. Charlie Kirk called me the day before I was supposed to leave and recruited me to go be the National Hispanic Outreach Director for the organization. I spent many of my first year becoming an activist, essentially going to those college campus events. I was with him at many of them debating those kids. And that conversation needs to be happy. You can't squelch that.
Can you speak to his importance to the conservative movement, to your own political rise?
He would go on college campuses and tell young people to get married and have children and just talk about how wonderful it is to be married and have children. He shared the word of God. He was a Christian, and he shared the gospel of Jesus Christ, and he encouraged young people. And he also would have debates on ideas on college campuses, which, I mean, that's our First Amendment, and college campuses have always been a place for that. And I believe today he was killed for the words that he says and the things that he stood for.
We have freedom to speak what's on our mind and shouldn't get shot because we believe in our system of democracy. Conservative, liberal, whatever you are, you shouldn't be shot for your beliefs. It's unforgivable what's happening right now, and it's only going to I don't see it getting better. I'm worried about copycats. I actually just got off the phone with the Capitol Police. I've requested a meeting with the Sergeant at Arms. I am very worried. I sent my staff home today. They're gone. I don't want them in my offices because I'm worried about the safety of the people who work for me.
It's horrendous. To see it up close, good God. You know, people are trying to shut down free speech making like Charlie Kirk. There's no place in this society. This is what happens in third world countries. But so sad for his family and his children.
Do you think this country has a problem with political violence?
Absolutely.
Some Republican members of Congress have blamed Democrats at this point in the rhetoric from the left as a result for this shooting. I mean, do you think that rings true at all?
It doesn't help a very difficult situation for people to be blaming violence like this on political parties or political factions. You know, I certainly resisted that when I heard people doing that after the Minnesota killings or after Paul Pelosi was attacked. And, you know, there's no reason for us to get into that. The violence against political leaders is unacceptable.
The killing of Charlie Kirk, I mean, it was obviously shocking. The way that happened, as I said earlier, the absurdity that this is a guy that you can disagree with him. I obviously agreed with him on most things. This is a guy that was trying to open up dialogue and engage in civil discourse.
What does his legacy mean for the conservative movement?
I mean, look, Charlie, I don't know how to say past tense right now. It's just, Charlie was a incredible deep thinker, grounded in philosophy.
Congressman, there were several Democratic politicians in the state of Minnesota who were just shot as well. I mean, are you concerned that this is coming on both sides, the rhetoric?
The same thing, but let's quit convoluting this issue. The vast majority, by orders of magnitude, of the politically violent speech is coming out of the left, period. So until these people stop doing that, and until you stop trying to drive wedges between Republicans and Democrats and everyday Americans, this is going to happen again and again and again, and you are culpable.
That was, we heard mostly from Republicans there, so sorry that when we got from the network those replies to what had happened, that was the case. This is from former President Joe Biden. We've also heard from Donald Trump, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and former President Joe Biden says there's no place in our country for this kind of violence. It must end now. Jill and I are praying for Charlie Kirk's family and loved ones.
And Max, you read this earlier. This is what former President Barack Obama had to say. We don't yet know what motivated the person who shot and killed Charlie Kirk, but this kind of despicable violence has no place in our democracy. Michelle and I will be praying for Charlie's family tonight, especially his wife, Erica, and their 2 young children.
And Angela Romero, the Utah House Democratic leader, released a statement saying, "I condemn any act of violence in response to political disagreement. Today, a conservative commentator was shot while speaking at Utah Valley University. Our deepest condolences go out to Mr. Kirk's loved ones during this incredibly difficult time. Every student deserves to feel safe on campus, regardless of political views. Colleges should be places of learning, discourse, and the respectful exchange of ideas. My heart is with the students, faculty, and staff at UVU. The actions of one or a few individuals must not overshadow the importance of civil discourse."
This in from Salt Lake City Mayor Erin Mendenhall. She made this post to X saying, "The horrific act of violence against Charlie Kirk at UVU this afternoon is abhorrent and un-American. There's no place for political violence in our society."
And Jenny Wilson, Salt Lake County Mayor, said, "I'm deeply concerned for everyone impacted by the shooting of Charlie Kirk today at UVU. Our thoughts are with him and his loved ones. As Salt Lake County Mayor, I implore all Utahns to respect freedom of speech and to resolve conflicts through civic engagement, not with violence."
And the Salt Lake County Council Democratic Caucus also shared a statement about the shooting at the campus. Council members Suzanne Harrison, Natalie Pickney, Ross Romero, and Jairo Johnson say, quote, "The Salt Lake County Council Democratic Caucus unequivocally condemns political violence in all of its forms. Our thoughts are with Charlie Kirk and everyone affected by today's tragic shooting at Utah Valley University. Regardless of political affiliation, every Utahn and every American has the right to express their views freely and safely. It is our shared duty to engage our differences with respect and civility, not with violence."
All right, among our crews who have been out at Utah Valley University and all over Utah County reporting on this and here as well, we want to head out to Fox 13 News reporter Julia Sandor, who is on UVU's campus. Julia, you've been there for a while and you talked to some folks there, I understand.
Yeah, that's right. And while I don't really have any new information to share, I can tell you a little bit about the atmosphere of where I am right now. We actually had just seen somebody walk by with a bouquet of flowers headed towards campus. I think that is kind of showing that this community is hoping to come together in light of all of this and to make sure that this campus, again, remind people it's a safe space. But right now, there are not many students here. Again, they are going to be closing UVU's campus until Monday as of right now. And some things that we have seen over the past half hour or so is that police presence has remained the same. And they've had some canines behind me checking out those stairs where there were backpacks like we had referenced before. But again, we had spoken to so many students about, what those events looked like for them, what they saw, and just take a listen to one of the students I spoke to and what she had to say from inside the classroom.
It just sounds like an earthquake, and everyone starts screaming, and then me and all my classmates look at each other and we're like, "Oh dude, I'm scared, what is this?" And then we hear someone yell, "There's a shooter," and then all these kids start running into our classroom.
Yeah, and she described that panic and kind of what that felt like for her and other students, turning off the lights, and how she said, you never expect something like this to happen on your campus. She expected it to be a peaceful day, and seeing that is devastating. But again, speaking to students and hearing their thoughts, when we asked them about what do you think this means for the future and going forward, and again, they don't know. They just express their shock and their fear after today. But we'll continue to bring you more updates when we have it. For now, I'll send it back to you guys.
Julia, thank you so much for your reporting. We're going to send it out live to Adam Herbetz, who was there on campus. Adam, what are you hearing and seeing?
Yeah, hey, Robin, we're at Wolverine Crossing Student Housing, just a little bit off campus, where some students who are at the rally are taking a little bit of time to decompress, to breathe, to finally process what just happened a few hours ago. And a lot of them have the same questions that we've been asking, in particular about the safety of their own campus. You saw the UVU police chief take a deep sigh when he was asked by reporters, tell us about the security detail, about the plan. Was it Charlie Kirk's plan and his team, or was it yours? His answer was to sigh and to immediately pivot to how this is a large university with a small police force. He said it's a police chief's nightmare and that he had 6 officers working the event. We asked at that press conference, what exactly were these officers doing? He did reveal that some of them were plainclothes officers sitting in the crowd and were part of that detail, and that Charlie Kirk's team organized with them. They were part of the conversation, and that they quickly jumped on top of him after the shooting. And we do know that he was taken to that local hospital by a private car. But the students we were talking to early on, especially as we were here, within 30, 45 minutes after the shooting, some of the witnesses we talked to were very close, second row, third row. They explained to us how they could see everything and hear everything. But there is also now some benefit to getting some of these interviews now with students who were further back. We just talked to a couple students that say they were about 30 yards away, and they could hear the shots, they say, over their left shoulder. So they certainly think that the shot came from an elevated position, from far away. When you're that close, that second, third row, they have no idea. They're focused directly on the speaker, and they immediately saw, Charlie Kirk getting hit in the neck and immediately dropped to the floor. So we did hear at that press conference the idea that the shooter likely was coming from range. They said possibly from an elevated position. So that is one of the things that they are working on as they speak to the person of interest. They are not calling this person a suspect. Of course, if they were booked and identified as a suspect, then they would be legally required to release the name of that suspect. It's just similar to how they did with George Zinn, the man who was booked for obstruction of justice, but is not being considered a suspect in this shooting. So that gives us an idea of how this investigation is unfolding. We still don't know when or if that person is going to be upgraded to a suspect, when or if that person is going to be booked, and how long after that we will get a name. But the questions everyone is asking right now: who did it, how did they do it, and why did they do it? The why, people are jumping to the fact that this was a political speaker who spoke very publicly, encouraged confrontation, encouraged people to speak with their chest, and encouraged people to debate with him. He did not encourage people to shoot at him. That is why Governor Spencer Cox is referring to this as a political assassination. So we're continuing to try and piece together what happened from the beginning to the end. Only 2 questions asked at this debate. I believe our reporter Ben Winslow spoke to the person who asked that first question. The second question was about transgenders, gun rights, transgender access to guns. One of the questions was, has a transgender person ever conducted a mass shooting? Charlie Kirk responded, and very shortly after that, he was shot. The question asked at the press conference was, is there any reason to believe that that question about gun violence had anything to do with what happened afterwards? The FBI, local police did not answer that question. It is just too early to know. They are conducting interviews, and they said they are looking at closed circuit television video, that's security video across campus. So they definitely have more access to information than they're letting on right now. That's normal, that's standard, that's how it's supposed to be, to protect the integrity of the investigation. And we're hoping to get updates throughout the night as we learn more about this person of interest and whether there is any additional threat to students here at UVU. But for now, we're live in Orem. Adam Herbets, guys, we'll throw it back to you.
All right, Adam, and a couple of things to notice there. It's been brought up by more than one person who we've talked to, that second question. Just again, this is all speculation from witnesses, and we do not want anyone to see our coverage and then go and consider someone who just asked a question at an event.
Right.
We don't want them to think that that person was somehow involved in this terrible situation. There's the only reason that's come up is because a couple of witnesses noticed that that was the question that was asked before the shot. The other thing is the New York Times is reporting the shooter was on top of the Losi building, about 200 yards away from Kirk when he was shot. 200 yards is certainly doable with a long-range rifle. But it's not easy. That's not something that anyone can just go and do, especially from an elevated position, pointing down and with the tenseness of what they were doing. So this was clearly planned, and it was done efficiently.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. We're going to go back out to Maifuli Gubi, who is at the hospital. Maifuli, I understand that we're seeing some new vehicles to arrive.
You're right, Robin. We've just seen two Office of the Medical Examiner's vehicles come into Timpanogos Regional Hospital. You see one of them moving right now. We saw who appear to be law enforcement in tactical vests and helmets come out of one of the cars, and they're here to, of course, investigate the death of Charlie Kirk and look into the body as well. So we've just seen that happen right here. There have been more police officers kind of going in and out, mainly Provo and Orem police, from what I've been able to see. Of course, a UHP vehicle that's still over here. That crime scene tape really hasn't come down since they put it up a couple hours ago, but it looks like that was to make room and to create a path for these medical examiner vehicles to come in. There have been more people gathering, though. That intersection is really filled up since a couple hours ago. There are people now with signs, with flags, just on both sides of the political spectrum, wanting to share their condolences to Charlie's family and the fact that this happened, right in our own backyard. So a lot of heavy feelings, a lot of emotions about the shooting itself, and that this shouldn't be how political discourse happens in our country. People are putting up flowers at that intersection. There are balloons, prayers for the family, prayers for America, hoping that, this doesn't have to happen in the place that we live in now. So we're still trying to keep any other developments that we're getting out here. We're looking into what's going to be next, and we'll keep you updated with the latest details as we get them. We'll send it back to you for now.
Hey, Maithili, thank you so much for that. We're joined by Nate Carlisle now, and earlier there was, Spencer Joseph. We're going to go back out to Spencer Joseph, who is still on campus, I believe. Spencer, it's been a while since we've checked in with you. Can you hear me, Spencer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, yes, I can. And in fact, we are at the Provo Police headquarters. The reason that we're here is about 30 minutes ago, we were kind of following some officers, trying to figure out, as we had heard from FBI Director Kash Patel, that the suspect was in custody, try to figure out maybe where they were taken into custody. Well, when we stopped by Provo Police, and unfortunately it cleared up very quickly after this, there were officers from all over Utah Valley in full head-to-toe SWAT gear that were here with their long rifles, and it eventually then got in their cars and left. Again, we don't know what's happening here, but I can also tell you we stopped by Utah Valley Hospital. There are officers there. There are officers all over this area, and as we know, this investigation is getting underway. I think these officers will remain in the area, but what we're trying to do is just piece together exactly what's happening, and we're trying to go from place to place and just try to get you, the viewer, more information. And so that's why we're here at Provo, and I wanted to mention that there were a lot of officers here moments ago, just before we went live, maybe about 10 minutes ago. Several officers then leaving this scene, taking off all their gear. It wasn't like they were going anywhere, but there were a lot of police presence here at Provo City Hall. There is one other thing I want to point out, and it's something that I noticed right as we walked up. This is the first place that I have seen so far, anyways, as ordered by the governor and the president as well, that the Utah flag and the American flag are being flown at half staff after the death of Charlie Kirk. So still a lot of questions. We're going to try and answer them to the best of our abilities. We're still trying to piece together and find out more information as we travel around this area. As we hear of something popping up, we're going to investigate it. We're going to try and figure out what's going on. Next, Robin.
All right. Thanks so much, Spencer, for all your work. And, it's we're all chasing after that, whatever piece of information we can find. And
That's
it
right.
has been,
I said, well, that hasn't happened to me.
Yes, Tammy. I looked that up right after I heard about it. I looked up to see if he was married and had children, and then of course, it says right away that yeah, he was married and had 2 children. That was just the saddest thing.
Still so many questions.
So
And
uncalled
speaking of
for.
which, there was a little confusion earlier during that press
Nikki tried
conference.
to
We were
carry on
hearing
as normal
Governor
for the
Cox
sake of her
saying
son,
that we
but
had
the entity
someone
in her
in
home
custody, a
had
person of
different
interest, and
ideas.
then we saw FBI Director Kash Patel saying that they had a suspect in custody. And there is a difference between the two. I believe we are now joined by Nate Carlisle please tell me we're being joined by Nate
I put it on
Carlisle.
my TV stand, and
tell us about that.
I think I went to do the dishes or something, and I came back to get it, and it wasn't there.
Interest and a suspect. Let's talk about person of interest first. It's a bit of an ambiguous term. I'm not aware it has a legal definition.
I started looking through the whole apartment.
Often used to kind of describe.
I think I looked for probably a good hour and a half.
It could be that they honestly don't know yet.
I started to yell.
And so they're
probably about 30 seconds, a minute later, it was back on my living room floor, right in the center of my living room floor.
Suspect at this point because certain legal obligations could kick in at that point. But eventually,
That
this
was a little unnerving.
person killed Charlie Kirk, then they would have to book that person into jail. And at that point,
the girl that lived downstairs had lived there for probably like 2 or 3 years.
I haven't seen any pictures yet, Pickle Me Elmo. I haven't really seen much footage. I've tried to see if they release much, but I guess because of what was seen on the footage, they're not really showing it.
And the tweet from Cash Patel, where he describes that they've got the person. I can't, in 20 years, ever remember a contradiction.
My heart was like pounding, and
unusual to have multiple
I thought, who's gonna show them house at 11:30 at night? That's crazy.
But usually,
Yeah.
they get their ducks in a row. They all decide in advance what they're going to tell the public about this situation. That's probably why that press conference was, what was it, 15, 20 minutes late getting started in the first place. They were probably game planning that a little bit. And so they said what they said at the press conference. And then in the middle of the press conference, we have the tweet from the FBI director. That is unusual. Max and Robin, the other thing I'm thinking about here is I am wondering if when Mr. Kirk's body goes to the state medical examiner's office for the autopsy, you're probably going to see detectives with the remains of Mr. Kirk, and they will probably go in to the exam room, and they're often present for the autopsy to see what evidence is gathered right there in the room. And I think we also heard the county attorney in his statement say something about search warrants. So I'm assuming some search warrants have been executed or will be shortly. And it could be weeks, if ever, before we see those search warrants. Again, they've got some mechanisms to keep search warrants under seal in Utah if they want to.
Yeah, and a search warrant and getting search warrants might suggest that the person is from Utah, but we really don't know that yet.
Yeah, we do not know. You can get a search warrant to search, a digital device. So that person could have driven in from who knows where.
Yeah, I agree. Pickle me on that, because you can't really say anything anymore, especially on YouTube too, about your opinion. People take everything straight to heart, and if you don't agree with them, then it's like then you're attacking them, and it's just not what it used to be. You can't have your own opinions anymore without it being taken to something like this, to this extent. And it's just so sad, because again, he has 2 children, a wife, like just ridiculous. Oh, yeah, and I don't see why it's so hard to just respect somebody else's opinions and thoughts. Like, why do you have to do something like this? Yeah, nothing's gained in the end. Nothing at all. Both sides lose. His family's lost him, and whoever the other person is, nobody gives a shit about them. So, nobody gave a shit about him before, probably because of their behavior, and nobody cares about him even more now.
Man, it's kind of fuzzy, but we were just standing there cheering. Me and T get kind of hyped with these kind of things.
Yeah, only 31. That's what I said. I want to see so much oh, he was a baby, and he was. He was a baby. It's so sad to see all these people who are dying who are just so young. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Places to go, travel, things to see, foods to try, experiences with their children, their partners, all stolen over nothing. I have heard from this station so far that they do have the shooter. That's what I've heard. So I have not heard other than that. Again, right before I like tuned in, they were saying they didn't have them, but right when I got to this station, they said they did. So this is Fox. So I kind of feel like they're probably on point with that.
I was just like, I was super excited. I've been looking forward to it. I actually do enjoy politics a
Yeah,
lot.
that's what I'm saying. Like
This is
the
like my first
suspect
one
is
this
just
morning, and we showed up. We were there 3 hours early, getting ready, and just to have the unfortunate thing
40s or
that happened
50s,
today, kind of it breaks my heart.
bald headed.
When I first started getting into
Surprised they
like
didn't have
politics and
greener
whatnot,
blue hair.
Charlie Kirk was always someone that I would watch, and I know it was very I like agree with Sophia. It was very
Especially with
tragic.
that shooting that wasn't that long ago at the other school. Was it like a Catholic school or something?
Especially for folks in your generation when it comes to politics. And they get people. He got young people excited about politics. Now what? Now what? For you guys, what do you do with what happened today?
Well, I think
Can
he
y'all hear
taught a
this
lot of
pretty
people
good in
when
the
they're having
background?
these debates and discussions at different college campuses, kind of
I can
like
turn it up.
some good morals that we can all stand on.
Yeah.
So I think the big thing that we can take away from it is just stand for what he stood for, what we believe in. No matter what side you're on, stand for what you believe in and do it peacefully
Yeah.
and just love other people.
Just sad you have to die for what you believe in. Welcome to America.
I'm from Saratoga Springs, just across
Saratoga Springs?
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. You've come a long way.
It's modern day America.
Saratoga Springs, right across the pond.
Ryan know each other. Now that this event has taken place, the level of political discourse in our country has taken a terrible back step. How do we regain that ground so that people feel comfortable sharing ideas, regardless of what those ideas are?
I mean, I really don't know. I think everyone deserves to be treated with respect, and I don't think guns are ever the solution. And I think it's just important to hear what people have to say. But
Okay, I
it's
turned it
important
up
to
some.
respect what people think.
I have bad hearing too. So I just wanted to make sure.
With what happened, I think the best thing that can happen is for people to keep spreading their ideas, keep talking about
Mm-hmm.
how they feel and why they feel about certain things. Um, Obviously, things like this, they're meant to scare people. It's, if I would definitely, if I was in someone's shoes, like wanting to be like Charlie Kirk, I'd definitely be fearful. But I think the most important thing is to keep sharing your ideas, keep spreading of like why you think this way, because the worst thing possible is to stop sharing information or stop sharing your
Yeah,
values.
that's what they want you to do. They want this to scare you, so you just,
we've heard a lot
retreat and
of
don't say anything.
political
That's what
leaders
they hope
today
that this type of
respond
thing does.
to what has happened. On both sides of the aisle, they have responded. In some way, do you think that this could be a unifying kind of thing?
Wouldn't that be
Despite
nice?
the horrific tragedy that has been brought about, could this be a turning point for the political discussions in this country?
Yeah, I think
Kind of like obviously not the
no matter
equivalent
what
of
you believe in
9/11,
politically,
but
like
remember how
today's
9/11 at least
happening
people were
from
willing to
what I
talk to
believe
each
is not
other
okay.
again. I don't know if
So
y'all
I
can
think
hear me on that,
in
but
a way we can unite in the idea that we got to treat each other with respect no matter where we come from. So yeah, there is a way where we can unite. Like everybody has a belief, or most people have the belief that you shouldn't kill people for that reason. But it's hard though. It's hard when everybody has different views and people get mad about it. But yeah, there's definitely a way to connect and get past this.
Sophia, you're playing this over and over in your head. How are you going to deal with this going forward?
I don't know. I feel like it's just important to talk to people about it, just try to get over it. But I mean, eventually it'll go away. It's just a pretty traumatic experience. So I think help would be great.
Are you guys going to get together with more friends and continue to discuss this? I mean, will it become something formal, do you think?
At least for me, yes. I will say that's one of the things that people they joke about me with is like how much I enjoy it. But I also do view things of like, people like Charlie Kirk or like Ben Shapiro or big names like that. They do help, shape society and shape us. And for me, it was just like, I don't know, just, yeah, getting together. I think talking politically and sharing views is very important, and it shouldn't be stopped.
Well, hopefully they will continue to share political and other kinds of views on college campuses across our country. The fact that it happened here in Orem, Utah, perhaps one of the most reddest places on the planet. I mean, that terrible irony has got to speak volumes to all of us who have gone through this thing now.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that for sure. It's weird. Shouldn't have happened here. Orem, Utah, bro. Like, that's crazy. But yeah, I don't even know. Came out of nowhere. We can come back from it. Still a good place to live. Still a place where you can share your beliefs and you can be accepted by other people. So we just got to work on that and make sure people feel safe around here still. So.
You guys, thank you so much for coming down from your rooms. We interrupted their pizza dinner, so thank you for coming and sharing your thoughts with us. We know that this will be a milestone for you in your life because of where you were when this happened, and it'll always be with you. And God bless you in taking care of yourselves in getting over this trauma. Okay, know that we're with you. Okay, thank you so much, you guys. Go enjoy your pizza. Okay, all right, you guys. As I said, that is kind of representative. It is representative of how students here at UVU are feeling. This terrible tragedy, and now several hours removed from it,
Let me see if I have TikTok on my
are
computer.
reflecting on it,
Don't
the
know if I
trauma that
do.
they'll have to deal with, reflecting on the more global view of what has happened and how that affects the discourse, the political discourse in our country. And of course, personally, how they will move forward and try to make a difference in the way that they feel they can make a difference. So, Max and Robin, it is somber here. Certainly, despite the pizza, there is no party going on here at Wolverine Crossing in Orem. Back to you guys.
Eerily quiet there, Bob. Thank you so much for your reporting. Well, if you're just joining us, we want to catch you up on the details of the day. Charlie Kirk, a conservative right-wing founder of Turning Point USA, was shot during an event on UVU's campus in which he was taking questions from the people in attendance, and he was shot while answering one of those questions.
And what you're seeing and hearing right now is a positive response to Kirk arriving on the campus. This was posted by his own social media account.
Yeah, my phone sucks, Cammy. I can't do anything on it. I got to get a new one.
Today, one shot.
I can't
and it hit
really get
Charlie Kirk.
pictures in my
best reporting
messages
that we have
either.
is in the neck, but we've heard a lot of people think that it was in the chest. Either way, Charlie Kirk was killed by that one shot, and now reaction all over the world. Forgive us for that sound immediately there. But what we're going to see or hear here is the actual shot, that one shot for 1 second, but you're not going to see him hit. That's it.
And that's what happened.
So we don't know who the shooter was. We're not completely sure. Police have that person in custody, but they do have a person of interest in custody.
That's right.
Wow.
The investigation is ongoing. Obviously, there are so many more questions that need to be answered, and we are working to get those for you. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
Well, I just wanted to obviously come on here and watch this and see kind of what exactly all happened. My son's dad, Chris, actually messaged me and told me that this had happened, and he didn't tell me right away that he had died. So it just, I don't know. I guess I thought he didn't die, and then when I asked him if he had passed away, and he said, "Yeah," I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe he actually died from this shooting, and that it happened. So I just wanted to come on here and watch it. So I kind of streamed it just in case anybody on here was interested in watching it also. But yeah, definitely one of the saddest days, I think, going to be in American history, because he was really working hard and, you know, trying to make a path for his party and his beliefs and his family. And so what a tragedy, you know. It's crazy how people think that they have the right to steal someone else's lives. But horrible thing.
We continue to follow the breaking news from Utah Valley University. It's dominating national headlines as well. The assassination of conservative
Assassination.
Charlie Kirk.
We've been tracking this
I
closely ever since the shot rang out in the middle of a speech on campus.
I never would have thought watching him months ago.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years? Counting or not counting gang violence?
We are
I
getting.
just thought it was going to be like a fun event, and you know, you see Charlie Kirk all over social
That's what it should have
media.
been.
Man, just you hear the pop, and then you just see like hit his chest, and then just
Yeah.
blood squirted out of him all over the table, and he just fell over, and I just like I'm shaking, and I
Traumatized.
didn't get to the ground at very first because that just wasn't my reaction. And then my brother pulled me down, and he put his body on top of me. And then Ethan came and put his body on top of me, and everything just happened so fast, and everyone was running and screaming and saying "get down." It just didn't feel real in the moment, especially like the blood. I'm still really shaken up.
I think it was like an artery
And
that
we
they
are
hit.
getting reaction from the president on
They obviously knew what they were
potential of this
doing.
assassination. President
It's
Trump
yeah,
says,
because they're
in
calling it
honor of Charlie
assassination.
Kirk, a truly great American patriot, I am ordering all American flags throughout the United States lowered to half-mast until Sunday evening at 6 p.m.
Governor Spencer Cox posted this to X. I have ordered the flags of the United States of America and the great state of Utah to be flown at half staff on all state facilities in recognition of the tragic passing of Charlie Kirk, who was shot and killed this afternoon while speaking at Utah Valley University. Flags should be lowered to the half staff position and remain in the half staff position until
Yeah, I heard it was
sunset
the side of
on
his neck
Sunday,
too, like an
December
artery.
14th.
Like I said, whoever did it knew exactly what they were
The governor
doing,
extends an
and yeah,
invitation to
like
all
sniper
private
level,
citizens, businesses,
whatever. That's why they're
and
calling it
other
assassination.
organizations to participate.
Now we've
There's
got
the left
team
side.
coverage of what's happening right now. Winslow, Ben.
Yeah.
Yeah, what
I
we
just
do
heard
know
it was
is the
the
person
neck.
of interest is in custody at this point. We have been told that by the governor, the commissioner of public safety, the SAC of the FBI, who held a news conference here. You can still see behind me a very active scene at Utah Valley University. The campus
I'll be right back. I gotta give
closed
Connor
until
his insulin.
September 15th. Now, as to the issue of the person of interest in custody, we do know that two people have been arrested. One is a person of interest in connection with the shooting of Charlie Kirk. Another person was booked on obstruction of justice. Now, the governor did speak about this a short time ago.
Is it a game? I mean, I know what Pokemon is. Yeah.
Looking for another shooter or anybody else related to it. Yes, we are actively looking for anyone and everyone who has any possible information relating to the shooting.
Can you tell us details about the suspect being taken into custody? Where, how long ago?
We cannot at this point, but we will get you that information when we can.
Is there believed to be a second individual involved in the shooting?
At this point, there is no information that would lead us to believe that there is a second person involved.
Now, again, we do not know much more about the person of interest in the shooting. They are looking at what happened, basically trying to figure out what exactly happened, how this happened. We do know that Utah Valley University's police department was here. They did coordinate with Charlie Kirk's security detail in coming up with a security plan, and now they're looking at how this happened. The FBI has been putting out, as well as the Department of Public Safety, if anyone has photos, video, they are looking for all of that information to piece together exactly what happened and how this happened. Back to you.
Ben, thank you so much. Now, you heard in that news conference officials say they have a person of interest in custody.
So here in studio, we have investigative reporter Nate Carlisle. And Nate, you have covered law enforcement in some fashion for a long time. What does it mean to be a person of interest compared to a suspect?
Max, it's an ambiguous term. I'm not aware it has a legal definition in Utah. It could mean police really don't know if this is the shooter and are seeking more evidence, though that would seem to contradict what FBI Director Kash Patel tweeted. It could also mean law enforcement believes they have the right person, but they don't want to formally book him or her into jail yet because that person may be talking. The other thing that jumped out at me was the contradiction between the Patel tweet and what was said in the news conference. And in 20 years, I've never seen that. Usually, multiple agencies take the time and effort to speak in one voice and decide what the public will be told. Max and Robin.
Is made, then what? Can you run us through that procedure?
Well, once someone is arrested and booked into jail in Utah, prosecutors have 72 hours to file criminal charges. The prosecutor can ask for an extension, and we saw that happen a little bit in the No Kings protest shooting. But if criminal charges are filed, then the machinations really begin. It could be months or even years before someone goes to trial, and there's going to be multiple court appearances before that trial.
All right, Fox 13 investigative reporter Nate Carlisle. Thank you so much, Nate.
Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray has released a statement about the assassination of Charlie Kirk on the campus of UVU this afternoon. He says his office has been working closely with authorities on the local, state, and federal level in this investigation. He's also been coordinating with the Utah Attorney General Derek Brown and officials at the United States Attorney's Office.
He went on to say, quote, "As with other active criminal investigations, my prosecutors will assist by reviewing affidavits for search warrants and providing other legal guidance to law enforcement. Once the investigation is complete, we will carefully review the evidence and decide on the appropriate charges. The Utah County Attorney's Office is committed to bringing those responsible for this tragedy to justice. We express our deepest concern for Charlie Kirk, his family, friends, and the many others who were impacted by this horrific event."
Let's go out now to Fox 13's Scott McCain. He is outside the medical examiner's office. Scott, what can you tell us?
Yeah, good afternoon, good evening once again, guys. And we've been waiting here. It appears as though the body of Charlie Kirk is being kind of possessed, as it were, by the medical examiner's office. A vehicle just showing up at Timpview Hospital down in the Orem area is be heading up this way here very shortly. They're going to come in through the doors behind us. And, you know, in death, basically, we're all equal, in particular, a homicide. This is going to require a full investigation combined with an autopsy. And given the lateness of the day today, this likely is not going to happen tomorrow. The other thing to keep in mind here is that with law enforcement at UVU, they may or may not be able to handle this level of investigation. So it may behoove someone like the Utah County Major Crimes Task Force or some other investigative agency to be there during the autopsy. And there could be some complications because clearly there were life-saving efforts made at the hospital down in Orem. That could complicate whatever happens with the autopsy here tomorrow. But that's going to be a full investigation. Again, this is a homicide case. Again, whether it was Mr. Kirk, sadly, today or someone here in the Valley, it's the same protocol, the same procedure, and the body of Mr. Kirk is expected to arrive here probably within the next half an hour or so. For now, we're live in Taylorsville. Scott McCain, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, Scott, thank you. And we do want to go to Spencer Joseph, who's live outside of the Provo Police Department. Hey, Spencer.
Hey, Max. Yeah, at this point, we're just trying to find out as much information as we can. In fact, we've got our police scanner, and this is information that we would never broadcast, that is unconfirmed, and especially for officer safety as well. But one of the things we've been doing is hearing just police go pretty much everywhere, especially in the initial moments following that they were following up on every tip and every single lead. There was a large presence of police from around Utah Valley here at the Provo Police Department about an hour ago. We're not sure what that is, and we're working to try and find out exactly what that particularly was. We saw lots of officers in their tactical gear, whether they came directly from UVU. We don't know at this point, but that is something I'm trying to work to figure out. But we mentioned this a little while ago, and I want to point it out. This is one of those first places that I have seen the American flag as ordered by President Trump and Governor Cox to be flown at half staff for Charlie Kirk. Here at the Provo Police Department and Provo City Hall, they have lowered that flag to half staff. So still a lot of questions unanswered at this point. We're going to work to try and figure them out, as this is a dynamic situation and law enforcement is just beginning to piece together exactly what's happening here. Max?
Spencer, we thank you for your reporting. Now we know that Utah Valley University is closed until Monday as a result of this tragedy.
Understandably so. Many students who attended Kirk's speech were traumatized by what happened. And there were a lot of people there who were not students who came to hear him. Well, listen to some of the reaction of students who we talked with today.
We were like second row. We were just looking up and we see, he was debating about shooting and he's talking about it. And then we see we hear a shot and then just a wave of blood come out of his chest. And we all get down. I had a couple people trample me actually. So it was pretty horrific.
I saw it and I immediately just couldn't believe what my eyes were seeing. But like a few seconds after, I just quickly got down. I realized that it was all real and super scared.
The whole event, probably we were like 15-20 minutes in. It was only the second question, and the topic was mass shootings. And so like it's such a shock when you hear that noise and you see that happen. I thought it was like, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was a sick joke or something because of what we were talking about. And then like reality hits you that fast, and all of a sudden you're like, this is real. Like here in Orem, Utah, where this is considered generally safe, and I mean, Utah, a lot of people here, like, I don't know. Like, we think, we don't even see that sort of thing living here. We haven't even been exposed to that thing. We shouldn't be.
We reached out to a local mental health clinic for what they have to say about mental health resources.
I think it creates many feelings of fear. And when something like this strikes so close to home, you really begin to question, even if you weren't there, oh, I know someone who was there, or I could have been there. It's going to be really important that those fears and that thought process of trying to figure it out gets space. They have the space to be able to work through that.
That's right. We're hearing from a UVU student who asked Charlie Kirk a question moments before the shooting. Here's what he said.
So I really agree with Charlie on a lot of things politically. So the only thing I didn't agree with him on was the concept of religion. And so that was the first question I asked him, was that Mormonism was more historically correct than Protestantism in regards to theology. And we had a nice conversation back and forth. We disagreed, of course. And then we kind of just ended it at that with the historical evidences. He tried to hold to the Bible a lot more in regards to archaeological evidences, which is not really what I was asking. But after I got done talking to him, I really couldn't exit because there's such a big crowd. So I turned around, and like 10 to 20 seconds later, after I got done talking to Charlie, I saw that he was shot in the neck and that he was squirting blood everywhere. But I was piecing things together, and it was really weird because the second guest that I talked to, before I went and asked him the question, what I was going to ask him, he was talking to him about how he was going to ask about transgenderism or something like that, but nothing about shootings. And this is the irony that came to me, which was like, right when he asked that, not like 5-10 seconds later, he was shot.
All right, and we're just getting word, and this has been such a strange day in terms of, I mean, of course, a strange day and a tragic day, but in terms of where we're getting information, this is from Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, and he has tweeted, "The subject in custody has been released after an interrogation by law enforcement. Our investigation continues, and we will continue to release information in the interest of transparency." This the same FBI director who initially said they had the suspect in custody, and he said that after the agent in charge and the governor here in Utah had just said,
"Yeah, person of interest."
A person of interest. It's really hard to get a bead on where the good information is coming from, but apparently the person of interest they had in custody is not considered a suspect.
Right. Well, now that gives us somewhat more clarity. But we are hearing now from Utah Senator John Curtis moments after a CNN reporter got his reaction to Charlie Kirk's death on the campus of UVU.
This is my backyard. This is very, very personal because of that, and leaves the scars. I think it's time for all of us to reevaluate how we're talking about issues. I think that if we're honest, we're having conversations within families that are too heated. We're having conversations among friends that are too heated, and then that obviously escalates as it gets to a broader conversation. It's not healthy. It's not who we are. This is why it's so impactful to me. It's especially not who we are in Utah County where this happened. And I would hope we're better than that.
Well, we are hearing from Greg Rogers, a professor at UVU, who was a former FBI agent, about his reaction to the shooting and the investigation moving forward.
I can assure you that there are SWAT teams on campus. They're having to clear those buildings. Those buildings all need to be cleared that had line of sight to that stage. That's hundreds of classrooms, and they all have a lot of agents out interviewing everyone that was anywhere near that stage, looking at phones, seeing if anybody caught anything. So there's a monumental amount of work going on right now trying to identify who this shooter was.
A lot of work indeed. We're going to go out live now to Fox 13 News reporter Mythili Gooby. She's been at the hospital for us this afternoon. Hi, Mythili.
Max, Robin, I'm still here at Timpanogos Regional Hospital. Now, we do know from officials, they told us earlier today, that this is the hospital where Charlie Kirk was brought after he was shot at Utah Valley University. He was brought in a private vehicle, is all that we know, and brought here to this hospital. Now, we've seen police out and about. We've seen cars coming through for Utah Highway Patrol, Provo Police, Orem Police, and crime scene tape as well. And just about less than an hour ago, we saw vehicles from the Office of the Medical Examiner come in as well. There were 2 cars, and there were law enforcement and tactical gear as well here at the hospital. So we'll be here monitoring for updates as and when they come. But in addition to the officials, has also been people that have been coming through just to be a part of what's going on. They want to share their feelings on what's happening. We've had people here on both sides of the political spectrum wanting to share their feelings about how the violence isn't the answer to these kinds of situations. I want you to take a listen to 2 of those voices now.
That he was loved and he was taken from us early through this terrible tragedy, and we do care, and he's still going to live on 100%. People are still going to listen to his podcast. They're still going to listen to his messages that are out there, and I'm sure this is going to inspire people to speak up a little bit more about their beliefs and how important his work is.
Well, to be honest, I want to make it very clear I'm a Democrat. I don't agree with much of what Charlie Kirk has said in the past. But politics aside, I'm more focused on humanity and the fact that nobody should die because of their beliefs, and the fact that we are so divided. We need peacemakers. We need people who are willing to put aside arguments in the name of discourse and put aside anger.
So people have been coming through with signs. There have been flags. There are posters saying, "Pray for America, pray for Charlie, for his family as well." So lots of people gathering at that intersection. It's been growing since we got here. But we'll stay here monitoring for updates and share them with you as soon as we get them. Live in Orem, I am Mythili Gooby, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Mythili, thank you. Now, there will be a vigil for Charlie Kirk at the Utah State Capitol Rotunda tonight at 7, and it is hosted by members of the Utah House of Representatives.
Now, we're going to go live to Mark Blaine, who is standing by at that location where things are going to be happening in just a little bit. Mark, where are you right now, and what can you tell us?
Well, I'm here at Orem City Center Park. As you guys just mentioned, a vigil is scheduled for Charlie Kirk. It's supposed to happen here at 7 p.m., so that's less than an hour. It'll be interesting to see how many people show up. I mean, obviously, a lot of people are in a state of shock. And at the same time, it can be good to be around people during a difficult time like this. It can help one process what happened. You know, looking at the park here, it seems like an average day. On the one hand, there's some youth football games going on. There's a playground here. You can hear the children playing. But of course, this is anything but an average day. This is a dark day.
I found where the Congress was
a vigil is scheduled.
acting up about the prayer. I'm gonna hop over there and watch and pull that up, y'all, so we can see that real quick. Hold on.
Hey, Mom. I want to go outside, please.
Let's wait a minute. Wait a minute. The House will be in order. The House will be in order. Shh. The House will be in order. Shh. The House will be in order. We will join prayer right after this, okay? The chair lays before the House a communication. The House will be in order.
What a disgrace, the behavior.
Thank you all. The House will be in order. The chair lays before the House a communication.
Speaker, House of Representatives, sir, I have the honor to transmit herewith a copy of a letter received from Ms. D.J. Greger, Director of Operations with the Virginia Department of Elections, indicating that according to the unofficial results for the special general election held on September 9th, 2025, the Honorable James R. Walkinshaw was elected representative to Congress.
Without objection, representative election, which you're about to enter.
This is unacceptable. It's so tragic. And he touched a lot of people and a lot of people's hearts. You're going to hear a lot more about that in the next hour and in the coming hours here on Fox News. His first television hit, Greg Gutfeld, was Fox and Friends in 2012, believe it or not. So we've known the young man for a long time, and may he rest in peace.
Yeah, he's. I've known him for probably 10 years. I mean, it's hard to gather your thoughts beyond just horror. So instead, I mean, you know, Charlie was such a force of nature. He was brilliant and he was funny, but what scared people was his persuasiveness. The only way to take him down, because he could persuade you so strongly, was to kill him. You know, and the shock and despair that we are feeling, and I mean we as in shared by everyone at home and around this table and in this building, it's a testament to the impact of Charlie's friendship and his bravery and his character. And it's so deep a wound that we all feel. It's because it feels like he's one of us. He's part of us because he was such genuinely a patriot and a great person. So how do you work through this stuff? You know, it's not about him or me. It's us, the viewers. You are us. What do we do? Well, you still do what you always do, but you do more of it. You stand up, you speak up, and you share the risk. Right now, you are recoiling, but you have to come back and return stronger, more fortified, and more resilient. What is ironic, fittingly, I guess, is that this is a turning point. You know, if you believe in Charlie, you got to believe in yourself because he believed in you. You know, this isn't over. This is the beginning. And Charlie's power just got released in all of us. He's going to be bigger now than he ever was on this chaotic planet. He made us all bigger. So I think that if you're at home and you're feeling bad, don't just get through it. And remember that he would want you to get stronger and not back down.
Jesse, before I go to you, President Trump has announced that the flags will fly at half-mast for Charlie Kirk until Sunday evening at 6 p.m. I know you knew him well, too.
Yeah, we're sick, we're sad, we're angry, and we're resolute. And we're going to avenge Charlie's death in the way Charlie would want it to be avenged. He was such a beautiful boy. He was an American boy. And he was incredibly positive. He was full of energy and life, and he made politics fun. You see it at his events when things blow up and the music plays, and we haven't had that in a very long time in this country. Every time he did a hit on my show, he would text me afterwards, "Thank you, Jesse. I really appreciate having you on." And my daughter loved him. I mean, she's 13 years old. This is a man who touched an entire generation of Americans and electrified them and made them patriots. And this is not a controversial person. This is not a polarizing guy, a divisive person, a firebrand that he's being described as in the media. This is like a guy that you have a barbecue with at your summer house. This is the kind of guy, if you came back with your daughter, you'd say, "Thank God, we got a good one." He's a great athlete. He's a great person. He's a great Christian. You see his family out there. He had his kids not facing the photos because he wanted to protect them, because he knew how evil people were. So when he goes out to these college campuses, he's not provoking anybody. He's like Socrates. He asks questions, and he does it with a smile. And there's nothing controversial about saying socialism is worse than capitalism. Men and women are different. Let's put America first, because that's all he was about, putting America first. And as Greg said, this hits differently because Charlie was one of us. And Trump gets hit in the ear. Charlie gets shot dead. They came after Kavanaugh with a rifle to his neighborhood. They went after Musk's cars. They just shot 2 Jews outside the embassy. Think about it. Scalise got shot, barely survived. It's happening. You got trans shooters. You got riots in LA. They are at war with us. Whether we want to accept it or not, they are at war with us. And what are we going to do about it? How much political violence are we going to tolerate? And that's the question we're just going to have to ask ourselves. Now, Charlie would want us to put as much pressure on these people as possible. Dana nailed it. This is unacceptable and has to stop. And it has to stop now. And everybody's accountable. And we're watching what they're saying on television and who's saying what. The politicians, the media, and all of these rats out there. This can never happen again. It ends now. Greg's right again. This is a turning point, and we know which direction we're going.
Turning point used so appropriately there. This is also in Joe Biden has posted on X a statement. He said, "There's no place in our country for this kind of violence. It must end now. Jill and I are praying for Charlie Kirk's family and loved ones." Sure to have many more of these statements to come through. Harold, you also knew Charlie Kirk.
I met Charlie a few times. First off, my condolences and prayers to his family. This is a young dad. The kind of pain that his wife has to be experiencing as she is channeling her own kids, she should know she'll be lifted in my family's prayers tonight. You all have said it. This is horrifying. It's profoundly sad. A 31, 32-year-old young man. I know he was born in 1993. I don't know his exact birthday, but he'd been 32 this year if he wasn't already. I don't know all the details about the shooter or any of those things. I'm sure we will learn and rightly learn. But our infatuation with like our own politics and our own ideas causes us, I think, to drown in these thoughts and these justifications. I've read some things and seen some things that people have said today who have talked about Charlie's politics in a way that it sounds as if they are trying to bring some understanding or justification for this. There's no justification for this. Charlie and I didn't agree on a lot of politics, a lot of the paths to solve political problems. But I viewed his thoughts and ideas as ways to try to help make my thoughts and ideas better. Politics at its best is that. We're going to hear a lot over the coming days on both sides, those who adored Charlie and his politics, those who did not like Charlie, did not like his politics. But there's no place in our country. There's no place, if you love America, if you love freedom, if you indeed want to make America, whatever side you sit on, Democrat or Republican, the greatest nation in the world, and believe it is, you can't in any way defend this or justify this. I close where I started. I don't know Erica, but my thoughts and prayers to her and to his daughter and to his son.
Free speech lives high in your list of priorities, Kennedy.
Absolutely. And you think about all of us go out there and we want to meet the public. We want to speak. We want to speak our minds. We are fortunate enough to have been given a microphone and this medium to talk about ideas and amplify what we believe is right. It is okay to be polarizing. It is okay to be a lightning rod. It is okay for people to disagree with you. It is not okay to take someone's life. And you know, there are people who have tried to justify what happened based on the reaction that Charlie Kirk stirred in people. I will tell you this, as Jesse said, his daughter loved Charlie Kirk. My daughter is a junior in college. A lot of them only get their news from TikTok, and they all know who Charlie Kirk is. Because using the Socratic method, he has confronted the sophistry of socialism and progressivism on college campuses. That was his life's work, and they all knew who he was. And as they shared those videos, many of those young people questioned their beliefs, maybe for the first time in their lives. And it's okay to do that as well. And I hope they continue to do that, and that his shadow resonates for generations of people who are able to sit down with those they disagree with and have a conversation with them and confront them with the inadequacies of their arguments, hoping that they come to the side that Charlie Kirk lived and believed was right.
And he did it with good cheer. Yeah, happy warrior.
All right, y'all. So that is kind of going to be where I think I leave it with the live for him. So I want to thank y'all for joining me, though, for it. So I just kind of wanted to see the different news articles and things that they had going on for him, you know, since this recently just happened. So I'm sure they'll have more information come out as time goes by. Like I said, I know that they are saying that they had the person in custody. Now the person's not so much in custody to our knowledge, and we're kind of going from there. But they do think that he was probably shot around I don't know, they said the left side or the right side of the neck, but probably near an artery, and that he probably bled out pretty quickly during a kind of event that he was, you know, had organized at one of the schools, one of the colleges that he usually does, a speaking event. And yes, definitely prayers for his family, friends, loved ones, everybody who was there, because this is a traumatizing event. This is something that should never happen. And so all these people who were there are going to be traumatized for the rest of their life from something like this. But hopefully it can help bring us together a little bit more. And so that this can be something that we can kind of finally learn to come together on something on and say, like, this is enough of this kind of bullshit. Like, nobody wants to see it anymore with all these shootings. It's just ridiculous. It's that nobody's a winner in this at all. I don't understand how this is becoming some people's only options. But yeah, so I will, you know, possibly do a live on it tomorrow, I guess, if they show any new information that comes out. I do have a video that I will be releasing a premiere around 8. So if y'all are going to be around then, you'll have to check out that premiere for Sebastian Rogers. And other than that, I, again, will possibly see y'all tomorrow. So y'all have a good rest of the night, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everyone.